Ankylosing spondylitis is an immunological disease in which your bones and joints become stiff and you are not able to move them fluently. This is a common immunological disease with the incidence of 0.1 to 0.8% of total population. Initially, it was thought to be more common in males, but now it is seen in females also. The chances of severe disease and fused joint is more in males, whereas in females it is more of an inflammatory condition. The disease is commonly seen in patients in age group of 20 to 30 years, and usually the disease starts less than 40 years of age. The disease is characterized by inflammatory pain in the central aspect of the body. That is, you have pain in the spine, pain in the chest wall, pain in your pelvic region, hip and shoulder joints. The pain will start slowly. The pain will be more with rest, and it will be better if you do some work or do some exercise. Morning stiffness is a characteristic feature in which you will have stiffness in your body and specific joints for more than 30 minutes when you get up in the morning. Ankylosing spondylitis word is made by two words, ankylose and spondylise. Ankylose means fusion, joining or crooked. So, and spondylitis means inflammation of the spine vertebra. So this is a disease in which there is an inflammation and fusion of your spine with residual slowly bending forward or crooked deformity or kyphosis deformity of the spine, and this is usually progressive and usually it spreads slowly to other joints. Usually it do not involve small joints of the body but the large joints of the body. This disease was first described by Bernard Cooper in 1600, and since then it has been studied a lot by the scientists. Now this disease does not only involve the bones and the joints, but occasionally it may also involve other parts of the body like heart, in which it can cause conduction blocks, like chest, where it can cause a decrease in the breathing capacity or decrease in the tidal volume and the patient will not able to take deep breaths. Also, it can cause features suggestive of interstitial lung disease. It can also cause kidney problems. It can also cause problems in your colon, in your digestive system. It can cause amyloidosis, kidney problem, and those patients who are having ankylosing spondylitis are at a higher risk of stroke and cardiac events also. So it's a disease which does not restrict only to the bones and the joints but also affects other parts of the body. So it's a systematic disease with immunological outcomes. In about 30% of patients, you may have eye involvement in form of uveitis, and that is in the anterior uveitis. Uveitis involves blurring of the vision, redness, painful eye, inflammation in the eye, and it is very closely associated with ankylosing spondylitis. In heart, aortic regurgitation is very commonly associated with ankylosing spondylitis. So, and in the spine, what is called as a bamboo spine, so whole of your spine becomes stiff like a bamboo. So that is a very classical feature of ankylosing spondylitis. So as I told you, the disease involves the central part of the body, the spine, pelvic region, sacroiliac joint, hip joint, shoulder joint, chest joints. Now comes the question that how do we diagnose a case of ankylosing spondylitis? Now one test which is very specific, which is very commonly done is a HLA-B27. Now let me tell you in detail about HLA-B27. HLA-B27 is a genetic antigen which is seen in patients commonly having ankylosing spondylitis, and 85% of patients who are having ankylosing spondylitis will have a HLA-B27 positive. So it's a strong correlation with HLA-B27. But you must remember that all patients who are having positive HLA-B27 will not have ankylosing spondylitis. Only about 1 to 2% of patients who are having HLA-B27 positive will develop a full-blown ankylosing spondylitis in their livelihood. So it's not a very specific test, but a very sensitive test for ankylosing spondylitis. Whenever we have a doubt of ankylosing spondylitis, we get all the blood markers. We get ESR and CRP, which are the inflammatory markers to assess the severity of inflammation. Also, we tend to do X-rays of the chest, X-ray of the back and of the hip joint to assess about the involvement of joint and the amount of stiffness that is present in the joint. Also, we can have a whole body examination because as we told you that it may involve other parts of joints as well. Now, many patients have asked us about the treatment of ankylosing spondylitis. Now, ankylosing spondylitis treatment broadly I will divide into 3 parts. One is physical treatment, second is the medical treatment, and third is the surgical treatment. Now, physical treatment is a very integral part of the therapy, because as we have told you that ankylosing spondylitis disease will be deteriorating with rest and improving with activity. So all kind of aerobic exercise, which includes walking, jogging, running, cycling, swimming, aerobic exercises, Zumba, pranayam, yoga, deep breathing exercises will be very beneficial in treatment of ankylosing spondylitis. They reduce the severity of the illness as well as the chances of stiffness in your body. So all patients of ankylosing spondylitis, we advise you to lead a very active lifestyle in a very active manner and do take part in a lot of sporting activities that will be actually good for you. The second part of the treatment is medical treatment. The medical treatment consists of many medications, and there has been a great research and great increase in number of medications that is available for treatment of ankylosing spondylitis now. Now we'll be coming to all the medications one by one. The basic medications which is given for pain relief and decreasing the inflammation is called as a NSAID, that is called as a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. There are many non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs available in the market, namely diclofenac, aceclofenac, naproxen. There are selective COX inhibitors. So these all will decrease the inflammation and decrease the pain and improve the symptoms. A very potent NSAID is indomethacin, which is very effective in the management of ankylosing spondylitis. It reduces the stiffness, reduces the swelling, but this is a very strong and potent medication. So whenever you are taking indomethacin, you must take it under medical supervision and must always test your blood parameters, specifically the kidney functions, because in some cases it may have a negative effect on the kidney. So we recommend you to do creatinine levels once a month when you are taking indomethacin as a treatment for the ankylosing spondylitis. Now indomethacin can be taken 2 ways. You can take a regular 25 mg tablet twice or thrice a day, or you can take a indomethacin sustained release tablet, which is 75 milligrams, that is once a day you can take as a sustained release tablet. Steroids, some doctors, some Ayurvedic practitioners will also prescribe steroids for ankylosing spondylitis, but this is not recommended as a routine. They can be given only in selected circumstances for short duration of time, not for a long-term management. I repeat, steroid tablets should not be used for a long-term management of ankylosing spondylitis because they cause osteoporosis and weakness of your bones and your joints. Now comes sulfasalazine. It is a moderate grade immunosuppressant that is basically salazopyrin, and it is particularly effective on the peripheral arthritis, that is peripheral arthritis like shoulder, hip and other joints. It is more effective as compared to axial. The effect is about moderate and it can be used as a supplementary therapy for ankylosing spondylitis. Methotrexate is a very potent medication which is very effective for treatment of rheumatoid arthritis, but unfortunately it is not very much effective for treatment of ankylosing spondylitis. Now we come to the very potent tablets or potent drugs which have come up for the treatment of ankylosing spondylitis, and these are called as a biological treatment, and they usually have an effect on TNF alpha. So TNF alpha blockers like etanercept, infliximab and adalimumab are very potent medications to control the disease symptoms and severity in cases of ankylosing spondylitis, but these medications should be taken under guidance of an expert rheumatologist only. IL-6 blockers like tocilizumab is again a very potent biological which can reduce the symptoms and severity of ankylosing spondylitis. Aerobic therapy, as I told you, is very helpful. Apart from that, you can use TENS therapy, hydrotherapy, the thermotherapy. These are all additional physiotherapy kind of things which can be used for treatment of ankylosing spondylitis. Now sometimes the patients come to us in a very late stage where these medications will not have effect because the joint is already fused. So in these relatively rare circumstances with advanced disease, surgical treatment is undertaken. Specifically, it is done in hip joints. So if you have ankylosing spondylitis with hip joint involvement leading to hip arthritis or stiffness, hip joint replacement is a miracle surgery and is a very effective surgery which can give you a very nice relief in pain, symptoms and stiffness of the hip joint. So if you have a hip joint pain, stiffness, arthritis because of ankylosing spondylitis, hip joint replacement should be considered strongly and it will give you a very nice result. Occasionally, if you have spine problems and spine kyphosis, you can have spinal osteotomies conducted by spine surgeons as well. Whenever you are undertaking a surgical treatment for ankylosing spondylitis, it is a challenge for the anesthetist because your spine is stiff and to put tubes and anesthesia is difficult, so we need to take care of that. So a good anesthetic and fiber optic intubation is required in these cases when there is a stiffness in your anesthetic in your spine. So I hope that I am able to clear all your doubts regarding ankylosing spondylitis disease and the problem and the treatment regarding ankylosing spondylitis. If you have any more questions regarding ankylosing spondylitis, please feel free to ask them on the comment box, and I'll request you to please subscribe to our channel Advanced Hospitals. Thank you.